What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Tell Me More podcast presented by Major League Success. I have Tyler Hicks with me. He's with Coldwellbanker. And Tyler, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast today to share your journey. That's what this
Thanks for having
podcast
me.
is about. Is all about sharing, agents' journeys to getting into the business and then their success. And you and I have had the privilege of connecting, a year and a half ago at this point now,
Just
maybe.
about, yeah.
And we're in different markets, and we connected over Clubhouse and the daily real estate huddle that I help lead. And how did you find out about us? Were you just on the app, or?
To be honest with you, I just searched all things real estate, and it was local enough, should I say, since I do, I've lived in London and served the Columbus area, so figured why not jump in. And it's been a great start to my morning ever since.
Yeah, so we connected, and it's been great to see your journey because you've hit the ground running, in the business, and we'll definitely be touching base on that for sure. But sometimes I always tell people, you never know who you're going to connect with, and what relationships you're going to build, and who's going to be able to help you if you're never in rooms, right? And it's just keep putting yourselves in rooms, and sometimes it leads down a path to success, and sometimes it leads nowhere, right? But if you're not putting yourselves in those environments, that, especially in this market, you guys are doing yourself a disservice. And this is just one of those byproducts of you and I being able to connect. And we do some other things together, and all of that. And it's all because we both made a decision to put this room together and to show up every single day. So
Sure.
I'm excited because I know you just from that, but this allows me to get to know you on a more deeper level. So
Yeah.
Tyler, on the Tell Me More podcast, we always start from the very beginning. And what was life like for you, growing up as a kid?
I mean, life was good. We weren't the wealthiest folks in the world, but at the same time, we still made do. I grew up pretty much on the fast track. I lived a very fast life. Got in a little bit of trouble growing up, but I'll never let what happened in my past define who I am going to be tomorrow. So, looking at it, growing up was pretty quick. I was in and out of the streets, running around, having a good time, but now it's time to scale back, focus on the bigger picture, and really succeed.
And are you originally from Central Ohio, or are you from Dayton? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the Springfield area.
Springfield, okay.
Yes. Moved around a little bit around the city, but for the most part, Springfield is home.
Okay. And did you have any hobbies or interests or anything like that growing up?
I did play sports. My dad was a firm believer in football. I got shoulders of a lineman, so obviously I had to play. So I did enjoy playing sports. I did enjoy hanging out with friends. Music is something that's huge to me. I love listening to all sorts of genres. So, I think that was probably my biggest hobby growing up.
Can you play any or sing or what?
Oh God, no. Oh, no.
You just enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it sounds better when you're in the car alone.
So after high school and stuff, what was kind of that next move for you? Did you end up going to college, dive right into the career field?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't have much sense of direction. As I was growing up. I said I resorted to the streets a lot, just went running around with my friends and had no real passion. It wasn't up until my grandmother passing away is when I really just reality set in. Like, I lost my best friend at that point. So one day a buddy of ours just decided to adventure into the military offices, see what they had to offer, because we had to take a friend of ours there, and ended up joining the Navy out of nowhere. So ended up taking that out and, graduated and then left a couple months after to serve my country. And that was what it really took to straighten me out and get a good life perspective.
Well, first, thank you for that. Second,
thank you.
How old were you? Was this like right out of high school, or was it a couple years later?
So it was about a couple years later. It wasn't a decision right out the gate. It was more so like I had to do some dumb things first to finally realize that I need to go somewhere to get it right. So that was probably my best choice, was joining the military versus going to college.
What was it in that moment of making that decision that was going to be the next step? I know obviously you said, life and mistakes and things like that, but I mean, that's a big decision to make, pretty much in a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
I really don't know. It was one of those things where we really were just going up there to mess around, to see what they had to offer. And, when we sat down in the Navy office, we just heard out what they had to say and loved it. So we kind of just, at the time, it was me and a buddy of mine. We were supposed to go together, but some things happened in his life to where he wasn't able to go. So I just ended up pursuing it anyhow. So
Okay.
really, I was at that rock bottom point in my life.
Yeah. And how long were you in for?
I just did my time and got the heck up out of there. I did my 4 and ran. So did enough to get that sense of independence. And, now that I can do it on my own and, grow up a little bit, I've pretty much been rocking it out since.
Yeah, it's always so hard. I'm always curious of like that stage of life, that 18 to, the college years, right? That 18 to 22. It's always so hard to, really figure out exactly what you want to do and what direction you
Right.
want to go. And back when I went to school, it was a little bit more pressure that college was the route to go in order to get a great job and security and, all of those things. And looking back on it now, it's just like, man, it's so hard to put that on such a young individual
Right. It's a
to
lot
make
of
that
pressure.
decision. Yeah. So when you got out, what were kind of the next steps for you? I mean, did you dive right
So
into real estate or?
when I got out, I was kind of, again, at that crossroad where I didn't know really where I wanted to be. I had the option to stay in California where I got out of the service at, or come back to Ohio. So I really wanted to get a fresh start, especially from what I left behind here in Ohio. Ended up coming back, staying with my parents for a little bit. And then I met my husband now. And, we kind of just figured it out together, ended up moving in together and really taken off. So he got me into the hospital eventually for an interview that he works at out in Madison County, which is not too far from Columbus. Got me in there. I worked my way up from passing trays in the diner to being the front office coordinator for a wound center before I decided to leave 5 years later. So, it took me some time, factory work, restaurant industry, to finally figure out what I wanted to do. But once I landed in real estate, you're never changing my mind.
Well, let's talk about that, right? So, what made you say real estate was going to be the next move? Did you have
Well,
interest in
honestly,
it or?
I did. I've always looked at houses, always had a passion for architecture, but me, I'm not smart enough to be an architect. So, I had to go a different route in order to achieve that. And once me and my husband started looking for a house ourselves, going through that process was such a learning journey, and the satisfaction that my realtor at the time got, Lori Hausman, that she got out of helping us get out of a situation where we were renting for a while, but we really wanted to buy. She helped us achieve that goal. So just that pure excitement, I was like, man, this might be really something I want to take on. And, as I worked that 9 to 5 behind the desk every day, I kind of got burnt out on doing that. So being my own boss, making my own hours and being the creator of my own fate is unmeasurable.
Yeah, and it was really just you going through the experience yourself as a consumer, as a
Correct.
buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And you make that decision. Did you jump in full time right away, or did you transition in?
I did. We got back from vacation one day, and we unfortunately came down with COVID. So I turned in my 2-week notice the day I got COVID. So I spent my 2 weeks studying for the real estate exam. And I had the full support of my husband. He's a director at the hospital, and he told me, if this is something I truly want to proceed, you need to put your all into it or put nothing into it. So I quit my job. He supported us for a few months while I studied and practiced. And, I just want to prove to him as well that he made the right decision by letting me do this.
Yeah. What was some of those thoughts and conversations like, going from, a paying job to diving into a career where it's 100% commission, you're not getting paid unless you're out there helping people. And a lot of times you're not getting paid sometimes, especially in the beginning,
Right.
60, 90, 120 days. And 60 days is if you're lucky, right?
Really
So,
lucky. Yeah.
for those that are thinking about transitioning, and I'm bringing this up because I'm doing a little bit more interviews with people that are thinking about getting into this business.
Mm-hmm.
But for those that are thinking about transitioning in, what were some of those thoughts and conversations like around just that?
They were very deep, elongated conversations. This wasn't an overnight decision to do. We did our research on what it takes. I talked to the realtor that I worked with buying my home to see what the process looked like. Did my homework myself by just seeing as far as insurance goes, as far as health, life insurance, all of that stuff plays a factor And, having a nest egg saved up definitely helped in the long run. So we definitely had that set up prior to me just jumping into this. So we had some stable support while my husband was still working full time. So it's just a matter of really digging in, doing that homework and having that conversation, because it's not an easy one to make.
Yeah. And I think for me, I was 22 and just out of college. So I was already broke, I just needed to find a way to, offset some of my bills and things like
For
that. And,
sure.
you know, because normally real estate is not the first career choice, it's the second, third, fourth, fifth career choice of a
Hmm.
lot of people. That transition's hard.
Yeah.
And, when you decide to jump into this business, I always ask people, and you've mentioned that you had a ton of support from your husband. Did you have doubters though? Did you have more supporters in your corner, more doubters in your corner?
To be perfectly honest, my biggest doubter was myself. How am I going to crank this out? How am I going to get myself out there? No one knows me, things like that. But that voice eventually fades away. So I didn't really have too many doubters. A lot of people kind of questioned why I was doing that, going from a stable paid income to commission based. But at the end of the day, they knew my personality and how I would handle it.
And you said you got in while you had COVID is when you went through classes. Was that 2020 or
Hmm.
2021?
That was right at the brink of COVID. So we just got
Okay.
back from Vegas, and it just happened that's when COVID really got discovered.
And that didn't sway any of your decisions. You would think that a lot of people would be like, "Oh, we have this, major pandemic. We got to stay in the house for 2 weeks." And like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, quit my job that pays me every 2 weeks to
Yeah.
dive into this other thing over here." That didn't hinder you at all.
You would think, but I was already committed. The commitment was there. The check had already cleared the account. Like we were in it. So, we just made do. We DoorDash, we Ubered, in between, just to kind of make a little bit of supplemental income, just to have a little bit of play money. But for the most part, we just committed to it and didn't look back.
I think that's a strong word, right? You have to be committed.
Hmm.
It's a lifestyle change.
It
And,
is.
the reason why I ask, supporters and doubters in that question is because one, the majority of people are just too scared to do it, right? So they're
Hmm.
going to doubt you, but the supporters is really what you need because you're diving into unfamiliar territory. And a lot of agents tiptoe, right? They
Hmm.
dabble in it a little bit, then they get too scared, right? Or they dabble in it a little bit just to get enough success, but not enough to fully commit.
Right.
And I think you just said something so key is we were committed. There was no turning back. The check
Hmm.
was already cut. It was already cleared, and you figured out a way to make it work. You
Yep.
know,
We had a
you
plan in place.
yeah, a plan in place and figured it out. So let's dive into that because obviously, 2020, at least here in Central Ohio, and I'm sure where you at, real estate really took off with COVID. I think a
Hmm.
lot of people, homeowners especially, were like, okay, well, if this is a thing, well, there's things that I don't like about my house now, right? So let's
Yeah.
get this thing on the market. If I'm going to be stuck here, right, I'm going to be stuck here with things that I actually enjoy doing.
Right.
What was that first year like for you? You know, was it instant success? Did you have struggles? Kind of break down that first year.
It was kind of scary because, again, we had COVID, things were shut down, but we were still out here showing houses. Luckily, through Coldwell Banker, they had the support and the lead generation system to really help me get my foot in the ground. So while people were at home scrolling Facebook or realtor.com, they're hitting that, want to communicate with the agent, because like you said, they're sitting at home, they're working, they want to get into something they like. So that really helped out in the long haul. But just kind of diving in head first, learning the game as you go was kind of the best route that I've went for this starting out. You kind of just learn with the punches, and not one transaction will be the same. So it's just staying adaptive.
Did you join a team at all, or was it
I
just you
did not.
solo?
Just me solo, day
So for
one.
the and obviously I'm a little bit biased, so this will be a great little conversation. I believe everyone should probably join a team at least their first 6 months, 12 months to not necessarily for the leads and things. Yes, that's important, but I think from the support standpoint of contracts, questions, language,
Mhm.
all of those things, right? Um, Curious, did you have a mentor? And obviously, I know you work with a great company at Coldwell Banker, and they have great trainings. But did you specifically have a mentor that poured into you from the beginning,
Yeah.
or are you just
Yeah.
that go getter that's willing to go out and figure it out?
Well, I did have that mentor, Lori Hausman, the one who sold me my first house. She actually works for Coldwell-banker, and that's what got me wanting to work for them as well. She took me underneath her wing, and as I started to learn, as she started to introduce me to folks throughout the company, the more I kind of spread out and started taking information from a little bit of everybody. I feel like there is no secret sauce to selling real estate. It's just staying adaptive and learning. So, the more people that she introduced me to, the more my horizon spread, the more I was able to ask questions, and then she just kind of let me do my thing, and it's worked out ever since.
I'm curious, what is one thing that she told you from the beginning that has stuck with you ever since?
Pay your taxes. Stay on top of those taxes. That's the big thing.
We laugh, but I always tell people, like, they don't teach you those things in real estate school,
They don't.
right? Especially, for me, I was just coming out of college, so I didn't know anything about finances or, taxes on that scale. And that's one of the things that I think, because of your experience and where the military, and then, your other career for those 5 years, the 401ks and like the life insurance and the disability insurance, and like a lot of agents don't have those things, right? A lot of
No.
agents don't pay the taxes on time, and honestly, it sets them back. And it's one of the things that really hinders them from taking that next step in the business.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
What was that first 12 months like? How many deals did you sell?
I really don't know those exact numbers, to be honest with you, but I feel like I did pretty well my first year. My first year was only from March through January 1. But then my following year, I accelerated and did 7.7. So I think I did probably around like 3 or 4 my first few months in, and then really accelerated from there.
And now you're on pace to, what are you on pace for now? 10?
I'm trying to make $100 more than last year. That is the biggest goal right now.
Yeah, you're like a lot of real estate agents, right? Like, you don't really know the numbers on the back end. You just want to go out and help people and meet people and sell real estate, right?
Correct. And I've always said that the money's great, but the experience and being in the trenches is, I like to get my hands dirty. That's what it's for. Like I said, the whole support thing, my husband got his assistance certificate, and he helps me run the numbers. So as long as he's managing on the back end, I'm the face of the company. I just like being in the trenches with everybody.
Yeah. How do you go about, going to 7 million, in year 2? That's a big jump.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people don't have those results. What were some of the things tactically, that you really focused on in order to go out and to find your clients and to really help them?
Really, it was based off of all observation. I was seeing people do cold calling, so I tried to do cold calling. I failed on that. It took a lot of like success and failure in order to get to that point. But I will say, using our lead gen system through OpCity, that really helped, because then family started referring family, and then it just started building from there. It wasn't just that one introduction. I know a lot of people turn their nose up to lead gen because it does cost, but at the same time, you're making hand over fist as long as you're doing a good job in getting those referrals. So that was a big help for me. My year 1 was making sure I was on top of those leads, staying in contact with my sphere of influence. Social media has been huge. Looking back 5 years ago, when I'm seeing memories where there's only 2 or 3 likes, fast forward now, I'm getting 25, 30 likes on one post. So just being engaged, that's helped a lot. Talking to people, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a nuisance when it comes to this stuff. And I talk to everybody, so that helps me a lot too.
You said adaptability earlier. You just mentioned that you're willing to try new things and fail at new things.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, as agents, it all works, right? I think that's the power of this and this conversation, not just with you, but everyone else that we've had on, and everyone else that we'll have on, in the future, is we all do it differently in some way.
Yeah.
And the message that I want to get to people is that it all works. It's just, you have to figure out what works best for you. And you found that, right? Like OpCity leads, like, the one great thing about those and lead generation with internet leads is opportunities show up consistently
everywhere.
And as a new agent, or a newer agent, like that is one of the struggles, is how do I create consistent opportunities to engage with people about real estate? So, I know it gets a bad rap, but for you and for me, it's what got our careers going. And then,
Right.
it's the idea of, I got this from network marketing. It's recruiting through the recruit, right? So like, if you were my client, I would love to help you, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you buy and sell real estate. But what I really want is I want Tyler's friends, family, coworkers, and anyone
Exactly.
else that they engage with, right?
hmm
And that's how you can take advantage of that type of lead source. Now, you mentioned social media. Was that by design, or was that just by happenstance? Were you big on social media before? I know you said only like 2 or 3 likes, but
Not really.
so it's
Not
really,
really.
diving into it and getting intentional with it.
hmm and that's the thing. That's my biggest thing is post with a purpose. Don't just post a post. Don't, you know, go a few days, post things here and there, stay relevant, and don't be a fire hydrant of just real estate. Make sure you put some personal thing there. A lot of stigma that real estate agents get, and I see it too because I have a lot of real estate friends on my Facebook. We have the same content on rotate. So that does get annoying. So that's why it's important to throw in a picture of your dog. I have a pet snake. I throw the picture of the snake on there on the occasion. I'll be out at the park and take a nice picture. Just you don't have to flood people with the fact that you're a realtor. They already know that. You just have to stay top of mind. So post with a purpose.
Give me an example, posting with a purpose but real estate related. I'm going to put you on the spot because I think that's
So
key.
with my whole pride celebration, I'm a member of the LGBT community, and that's somewhere where I want to be. I posted my support in that and let them know that I have their backing. So I posted that with the purpose on the day of pride, so that visibility is there. It's I'm not going to post a picture of like a puppy adoption on the day of pride because come get your puppy. That's something totally different than actually being there in the moment in the trenches, kind of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned, top of mind awareness, right? And I just got back from a conference, and one of the topics was the top 5 mistakes real estate agents are making regarding branding or marketing. And one of them was, and again, this is part of the challenge of real estate agents, right? The best marketer typically wins, but none of
hmm
us have a marketing background, right? A lot of us came from different careers. We don't have sales backgrounds, marketing backgrounds, all of those things, which is why I want to dig in on this a little bit is, and they said one of the top 5 mistakes was that real estate agents emulate small business owners in the market center, and they're
hmm
not emulating the big brands. And, after a day at a conference, if you guys ever go with me, or if anyone goes with me, you're going to know, like, I always do, like, hey, we're going to get together afterwards, 20-30 minutes, and we're going to do takeaways from the day and go around, if it's a group of people. And I brought it up and I was like, I've been thinking on this ever since it was mentioned. And it was, you don't see, not that this is bad, but you don't see McDonald's making a social media post about another Happy Meal sold, right? You don't see
I
Burger
love it.
King posting about a Whopper being sold, right? And there's a time and place for that, right? Because I
Right.
understand that's you want to post about the real estate stuff, but what do they talk about? It's all about their product, right? Their
hmm
branding. It's not about the sales that happen. It's about the experience that clients get or their consumers get. And I made that, and it's so true, right? Like we both laughed. Like I laughed at the time, right? It's like another Happy Meal sold, right? Just put the fries in,
Yeah.
But it's so true, and that's why I love what you just said, posting with a purpose. But as agents, I challenge you guys to think about, you are the product, right? Your
hmm
experience is the product. How can you talk a little bit more about that without puking real estate on people?
Every time. Yeah.
And like you said,
Yeah.
they're going to know what you do, right? As
Right.
humans, we love to stalk one another. If you're posting stuff on a consistent basis, they're going to click your profile and they're going to see that you're with X, Y, and Z brokerage. So,
hmm
um, no, that's awesome, Tyler. I want to kind of move, you know, got licensed in COVID. Year 2 was great. Years 3 is on track to be even better.
Correct.
I want to kind of switch to the future and what some of your goals are, and big visions for what you're looking to accomplish in the business. What's something that you're looking to accomplish here in the next 12 months?
So right now, I have been working very, very hard and very, very diligently to be a part of the Ohio Real Estate Leadership Academy. That is something that's very near and dear to my heart because after my very first Ohio Realtor conference, it made real estate make so much more sense than just opening the door. There's levels behind it, there's order behind it, there's processes in place to protect people like you and I in this industry. So my goal is to be more active on the Ohio Realtors. I'm already involved with RPAC, trying to get a little bit more involved on the local level. I'm in line to try to get. I'm going to try to get the co-chair for one of our committees this coming year for my local boards. So there's a lot in the background that I'm working on, and one of the biggest things is I'm have a little bit of downtime in between closings right now. So I'm starting to work on my accredited buyer certificate so I can, start putting letters on my name and get to Orla, graduate next year, and just really be the best all around real estate agent I can be, not only for myself, but for the industry.
I love it. I love it. It's one of the areas where I'm not involved in those types of things, and I probably need to be better with it.
Hey,
Sure.
I'll meet up with you someday if you come down to Cincinnati this year.
The Leadership Academy is one that everyone tells me that I definitely need to go through that experience and that opportunity. So maybe I'll be on my future list to do.
Yeah, sure.
Tyler, what's something that you're looking to accomplish within the business in the next 5 years?
Eventually, like I want to be a Jon Harp where I have my own team built up. I want to be able to coach or be an educator of some sort. One of my other mentors, and she may not know it, her name is Belinda. She was the moderator when I was in school. She has been such a huge support to me, and I want to be an educator like her. She's definitely somebody that's well-rounded, knows the business, and wants to just help others succeed. And I think that's where I want to be in the next 5 years, where I have a team established, where I'm starting to just educate, teach, or maybe even go on tour and be a ninja certified instructor. I think that would be so cool. But, we got to get there with baby steps.
Yeah. It's one of the things I believe in, 3 things I believe everyone should have: a coach or a mentor. I think it's been a huge key and influence into my business from day one. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mentor. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have, if he didn't pay and provide for coaching from day one. I believe that everyone should have a peer, someone that's going through the same journey as you, right on the same path. Like they're in growth mode, maybe doing the same amount of deals, trying to get to the same destination. And I believe that everyone can help someone get to where you're currently at, and you don't have to go out and sell 100 homes to start coaching and mentoring people, right? And at the conference, Ed Milet talked about how you're best served to help the person that you once were, right? So if you sold 5 homes, last year, you can help someone that hasn't sold 1 yet to get to 5, right? And if you've sold 15 or 20, you can help someone get to 15 or 20, right? And what I found over the years of doing that is it really helped me slow down. It helped me understand, get it all out of here and get it on paper to where I can help someone learn it who doesn't understand it. And this is where I find what separates the great loan officers from the average loan officers, because dealing with our clients looking to buy a home, if a loan offer is just talking lender language and vocabulary, they're going to lose the buyer, right? But the great ones are the ones that can explain financing to the 3rd to 4th grade level to get the client comfortable so they can understand it, right? And that's the same thing, so Tyler, like, I love that you're already diving into helping people, because it's having you get it out of here of what did I do? Well, I don't know. I just went out and started talking to people, or I just started posting about it. Okay, well, no. Like, what specifically did, bring it down even further, right? And honestly, what it taught me is it helps me become a better communicator, not just with agents, but with my own clients, because I'm explaining it to someone that doesn't understand it, to teach them to show how to explain it to someone who doesn't understand it. Right. So you have to simplify it. I love it. What do you think you need to do in order to make that happen in the next 5 years?
Just stay consistent. Consistency is key. I don't force it. It's if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I've learned from that mistake too, where if you force it, it's not going to happen. Just let things kind of lay its natural path and deal with those hurdles and obstacles as you get through them. That's that's really all I need right now is just, for one, the support, the consistency, and the willingness to help. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's all lining up the way it's supposed to.
No, consistency is the number one thing. I just met with someone who's getting into the business this morning, and at the end of the day, if you show up every day and do what you're supposed to do in this business, you're going
Yep.
to have any and all results that you're looking for, right?
Yep.
And that's the hard part. Going back to diving in full time and all that. Like I always tell people, if you got the work ethic, then you're going to be just fine, because no
Yep.
one's asking you, no one's begging you to come clock in, clock out, work from the office, show up every day. It's all on you.
No one's gonna hold your hand in this business.
Yeah.
It's
But
cutthroat, but it's
but
fun.
I think it's important. But I think it's important though, kind of like what you did. If you're a solo agent, I think it's very hard. Now, obviously, you're a go-getter personality. You said you're kind of tenacious, right? And in
Yes.
that approach of getting people and helping people. But also, you had a mentor and
Yes.
several mentors, right? So don't think that you can just go, and some people will be able to go and do it on their own, but there's a reason why our
Mhm.
failure rate is 86, 87% by the end of year two. You need help, you need people. And
You do.
the more that you can be adaptable to learning, to being open-minded, to listen and to talk to other agents in the business that are having success, it's just going to help build your success a lot quicker.
Right. And take that feedback and take that criticism, learn from it. That's huge.
Tyler, what is a legacy goal for you? What is something that you're trying to accomplish when you're no longer here?
I just want to be known as an all-around humble guy, like who just loved what he does and puts his best foot forward when he can. So that's pretty much my goal at the end of the day. Just somebody who everyone loved.
I love that. And last question for you, and we always end on this one. But if you could give our audience one piece of advice, I know you're still kind of earlier in your career, but you're out there killing it. But if you could give our audience one piece of advice, what would that be?
My favorite line is stay genuine, remain humble, and remember your purpose on earth. That's probably
I
the,
love
the
it.
best advice I can give anybody.
I love it. Tyler, thanks so much for jumping on with us. Those that
No
are
problem.
watching the video, if you guys have resonated with his story, if you've connected with him, his phone number, his email is down below. So if you guys are thinking about buying, selling, investing in real estate, make sure you hit him up. I know he does come to Central Ohio, but he's also out in Springfield, out there doing his thing out that way.
Yes,
So
sir.
make sure you reach out to him. But Tyler, for those that are listening in on the podcast, what is the best way for someone to connect with you?
Yeah, you can get a hold of me you can find me on Facebook. You can send smoke signals, or you can give me a call at 937-321-0569. My email is just tyler.hicks@coldwellbanker.com. So any questions, no obligations. We aren't used car salesmen here. So feel free to reach out and let us know if you need anything.
Tyler, thanks so much for taking time out of your day today to join me to share your journey. I've got to see you over the last year and a half or so, really, build that business and become a great real estate agent, not just in your market, but here in Central Ohio as well. So I'm excited to see where your career takes you and to the next level that you're trying to get to. I think it's going to be it's going to be fun. It's going to be
Sweet.
it's going to be a journey.
There you
It's
go.
going to
To
be a
infinity
journey.
and beyond.
That's right. That's right. But
That's
thanks
it.
so much. Thanks so much for your time today, and
You're welcome.
we'll talk soon.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Bye, guys.